Well, welcome back to the Voices of the Valley, a special edition of Valley Hoops Insider's website and podcast. With us today, legendary broadcaster of the Southern Illinois Salukis, Mike Reis, Hall of Famer, 44 years, 1,300 plus basketball games, 1 million football games, 1 million baseball games. Mike,
69 years old.
69. I'm 69. We're the same age, bro. Thanks for doing this today. We're going to talk some basketball, and we want to talk about Arch Madness coming up in just a bit and some of your memories from there. But first of all, retired, I think, in 2023. Tell us what you've been doing since then.
Absolutely nothing. Really, I haven't. I've traveled quite a bit, usually to see friends. People invite me. I invite myself. I actually show up and they say, "Wow, you came." And
how about that?
So, but look, it's been it's the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. It still is. I miss the games terribly, Harry. I miss the people too. I don't miss the day-to-day stuff, on and off the air. And so it's the right thing to do, and I'm very happy right now.
1,325 basketball games, if I wrote the number down correctly. And you went to SIU, so you graduated right into a lifelong job that you just loved. You talked about the people, you talked about the experiences. Just how rich do you feel after all those years of great interactions with people like that?
Well, very much, especially when you're a single guy, and I'm a single guy. And so I was married to the job, and I know how that sounds. That's not all positive, but that's why the people are so important, Harry, because it was such a huge part of my life. And I didn't realize at the time what was going on at 22, and I knew everything like every 22-year-old does, and really, I got the job the day after I graduated, and I started the day after I graduated. And at the time, there were 3 other radio stations doing the games. I didn't work for Southern, and there was no Learfield at that time, at least not involved with SIU. And so I kind of lucked into the job, and the guy that had the job before me left because the radio station wasn't doing the games quick enough for him. And so he left, and it fell into my lap. And fortunately, I didn't screw it up. I tried to for a while to screw it up. But now as I look back, it means a ton, because it is the place that I grew up college-wise. It's the only thing that I knew. I never got fired. I never got hired. And so it means a ton to look back and to all of the great people that I've met and all of the great moments. And one of the things I've found is I still want Southern to win. I still go to the games. I'm a season ticket holder. I purchase the tickets. I'm a donor and all of those things. And so I want Southern to succeed. But my biggest fandom came when I knew the people that were playing. And the people are great to me now and all of those things. But I knew the others better than I know the people now, naturally. And so that causes me to look back. I never thought about that until I quit.
Yeah, it's the relationships, the people. I was talking to our mutual friend Dave Snell the other day, and I think he's 1,475 games or some crazy number like that. And it's the same thing, right? It's the people, it's the interactions, it's the relationships.
He can't count that high. He doesn't know.
He probably can't. He probably can't. Hey, I wanted to ask you, and part of this, full disclosure to the people who'll be watching this maybe on YouTube at some point. One of the reasons we're talking is I'm helping with putting together a preview show for Arch Madness coming up. It's 50 years of Missouri Valley Conference basketball tournaments and 36 in St. Louis. And Mike, the 3-year run that Southern had in 93, 94, 95, winning the championship. Take us back a little bit to that team. Just, Marcus Timmons was a 3-time all-tournament participant, meaning he was on the all-tournament team all 3 of those years. But some great players on the Southern team of the early 1990s.
Yeah. And if he doesn't get hurt another year, it's probably 4 straight. Speaking in of living in the moment, Harry, at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about winning 3 in a row. Nobody really had repeated. It wasn't the hype thing that it is now for everybody. And that's another thing that looks better now than perhaps it did then. Living in the moment at that time, Southern was just trying to make it to the tournament. And 1993 was a pressure relief valve, winning the Missouri Valley Conference tournament in St. Louis for Coach Rich Aaron and the Salukis. They had been to the NIT the previous 4 years, and it was thought that Southern that would be as good as Southern would be, even though it had the talent that a lot of people felt was the best in the Missouri Valley Conference. You're talking about Chris Carr and Marcus Timmons and Paul Lusk and Chris Lowry and some great names in Saluki history, and most of them Halls of Famer. But under Rich Aaron, another Hall of Famer himself and an all-century coach, Southern just couldn't put it together enough to win the conference tournament. And then, like now, that's the only way you were going to get in. And so when the Salukis won it in 1993, it's one of the greatest moments that I've seen. I still picture Rich Aaron slipping around on the floor trying to celebrate, and Rick Shipley for us on radio trying to interview him, and the mob scene that was the students and the players and the fans on the floor in St. Louis is one of the great moments. And Southern had terrific talent at that time, some of the great players in Saluki history, and they were able to move it into what was eventually termed the three-peat, whether Herron got it or Pat Riley got it as coining the phrase. And so it's a terrific time, and it's something that has stood up well in Valley history too, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was watching some of the highlights of those things, and Chris Lowry hits a late shot to win a game, and Mike Reis says something like, "It was good," or something like that, and then 3 times repeated, "It counts, it counts, it counts." Take us into that moment, just how exciting that is.
Well, it was, and look, you live the moment too. It doesn't matter how objective you try to be, and at that point, I wasn't working for Southern. My background was as a reporter, and so that led to my style. But when you're around it and you just live the pressure, and you feel the pressure mounting, and you like the people involved, and nobody likes for their friends or the people that they respect to feel the pressure that can be, even in the mid 90s. The pressure is more intense now, I think, simply because of the national stage and social media that goes on. But that was a great thing. And one of the things about the tournament, especially in St. Louis on a neutral site, and it's having seen the first one, the fact that it's 36 years is humbling to hear that number. But the thing, when you're one of the 1 or 2 seeds, which Southern was in those years, the pressure is so intense in those early games that the players feel it, the coach feels it, and it affects both of their work, and they're tight. And the other team does what has become cliche and has nothing to lose. And every shot matters. Every possession seems to matter. Southern was a high-scoring team at that time. Herron was known for his offense. But Southern, like everybody else, when you get to postseason, your point scoring goes down about 15 points. So Lowry hit the shot, and that was a tremendous thing because he's a young player. He was not expected. The play was all fouled up, Harry, and it wasn't supposed to go necessarily to Chris, but it did, and it hit the shot. And I think some of the excitement that I felt had to do with the fact that he hit the shot, and how his career evolved in Saluki history. So certainly that's one of the great moments at that time.
Getting ready for this, trying to hit the right button. I'm trying to talk to you. There we go. But getting ready for this, I went back and looked at the box scores of those 3 games, and I forgot how good a player Paul Lusk was.
Yeah.
I mean,
First of all, did you see how many subbed?
yeah.
Aaron had that whipsaw. He'd tolerate the bench for about a minute and a half. But yes, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
I just forgot how good he was, how good
Yes.
Paul Lusk was as a player. We knew him later on as a coach in the league, and knew he had a storied career at Southern. But he was a big dog on those teams.
Yes, he was the glue. When he became eligible, that was a huge moment for Southern. He transferred from Iowa, and unlike today, that wasn't just because it's a portal and he wanted to go in for more playing time. He ended up with it. He had broken a leg, which had affected his career at Iowa, and he had known Southern very well because he's from about an hour and a half from here. And Heron and his father were good friends. And so when he became eligible mid-season, it was just a huge moment. And in 93 and in postseason play, he was an important offensive player too. And he's an important part in Saluki history. He's one of those hasn't made the Hall of Fame. And certainly the win total would put him in there. And, maybe he'll be in there somewhere down the road, but he's an awfully important part. He and I are good friends. I'm disappointed his head coaching career didn't work out better than it did. But he's a huge help at Purdue as we tape this in 2026. He's a huge part of a very good Purdue program, and his ability to score when he had to, generally a three, and to know how to play. Players joke about Heron's players joked about the fact that he was hard to understand. He would talk a mile a minute, and his diction wasn't that great to begin with, even when he talked slowly. And so, but Lusk understood him, and Lusk could be the quote unquote coach on the floor, and he could translate Heron to the group. And the team was so much better when he played. And then a tremendous knowledge of the game, even as a 20 and 21-year-old.
I was super impressed with him. Went down for I was in the area, so I went to a practice before a game, or I don't even know why I was at a practice, but I'm at a practice, and it's during some of the racial unrest here in America when he was coaching at Missouri State.
Right.
And I went down there, and he gathered all the players at center court after practice and had this long conversation with them about what was going on and how to respond and how he had to respond to certain situations and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
I was super impressed with the way he was just trying to help and mentor his guys through a difficult time. I'm super impressed with Paul, always will be.
Excellent communicator. And that is his personality. He is not good at coach speak. He is not good at glad handing. Now, that doesn't mean he just, like a 69-year-old, just spouts his mouth off every once in a while. He's more guarded than that, but he's very, very genuine, and he's an impressive human being, and he means the world to Southern's program.
Yeah, I really enjoyed getting to know him over the years. Before I let you go, the 6 years in a row in the NCAA tournament for Southern in the early 2000s was obviously an epic moment in Southern Illinois history, but kind of an epic decade for the Missouri Valley Conference. All kinds of Sweet 16 teams, multiple teams going to the tournament, multiple teams going to the Sweet 16, but Southern kind of leading the charge during that time. And such a wild kind of version of that. Different coaches coming, leaving and staying, and all of that. Any thoughts about just that 6-year run? You had to think, man, I've just finally landed. This is what we do all the time now.
Yeah. Most of the best reactions that I have, Harry, have come since. I mean, first of all, and this was not lost on other people in the Missouri Valley Conference. I remember Mark Turgeon talking about this quite a bit at Wichita State. Southern had that 6-year run with 3 different coaches.
Right.
And so how often does that happen? And Bruce Weber going from Southern to Illinois, and people genuinely being happy for him at SIU. And I've always said that Southern has intelligent fans. Now, it has the same It has idiots just like every other school has. But I think Southern's percentage is smaller. And I think that Southern's, the number of SIU fans who understand the game, understand Southern's place, like to be told the truth and understand, and they set their expectations based a lot on what they hear from the coaches and the players, and they don't like to be BS'd, and they understand the game. And so when somebody moves up in the game, they're happy for them. And I've not seen that at very many places at all. Then people are generally happy for Weber. Painter, they'd been happier if it waited one more year. I think all of us thought, now, wait a minute. Now, why do you have to be a coach in waiting? Can't we sweeten the pot here a little bit? But everybody understood that if that thing would open, and Purdue did the right things. It's hard to get rid of a legend. And they found the right thing with Katie. And then Lowry was integral to the whole thing, too, in the recruiting of key players who led the way in 6 and 7. And remember that when Southern went there from 02 to 07, those 6 years, 2 of those teams not only were Sweet 16, but 5 of those 6 teams were at large. Southern did not win the conference tournament but one time during that stretch, and that was in 06 when it had to win it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gone to postseason. And so those are some of the things that stand out about me. But the transition, it was a thing. It was a program that was built on defense. Some teams had more offense. Weber and Painter's teams had more offense than Lowry's teams did, and all of those things. But defense was at the center of it. It attracted the fans. Winning attracted the fans, as it always does. And it was a great time to be around Southern. Southern played on a stage not only in this region, but nationally, that it may not ever play on again, simply because the game is so totally different. And what an enjoyable time to be around that. And that was the only stretch, 93 to 95, Southern was expected to win, but it felt different in the early aughts because the game was played on a bigger stage. And I'll never forget the games in Chicago at the United Center in the NCAA tournament against Southern beating Texas Tech and Georgia, and then going to the Sweet 16. And, I hope Southern's able to match that somewhere down the road. But, man, Harry, if you look at those teams, the way the game's played now, those teams in the mid-'90s, those teams from 02 to 07, those are $7 million payrolls now,
right,
in today's game. And if those players even last 4 years, those were 4-year players, they graduated, all of those things. And just a totally different time in basketball. And it's up to all these schools that had runs like that. And there were 4 teams in the Valley at that time. Bradley and Wichita were tremendous. And of course, Southern's rivalry with Creighton, but the rivalries are at the best when teams are good. And that was a strong rivalry at the time. Wichita Creighton was at the time. Those were NCAA teams. Missouri State should have been in the mix. Certainly one year in particular, they should have been in there. And so it was a terrific time on a bigger stage than maybe the 90s were. And so that stretch always stands out to me.
I maintain that Rodney Watson was the reason for all of those victories. You had all those head coaches going, but Rodney was staying.
The glue.
That's right.
The glue, Harry.
Absolutely right.
Coach, he was certainly key. And look, it's easy to laugh about that, and Rodney would swat you away for saying that. But look, there's an important role for that sort of person too, and he was the glue. And so, just because you have a basketball program doesn't mean everything goes smoothly on your campus. And there are bureaucratic challenges for every school at every level. And when you have somebody that knows the ropes, it really helps you. And that's what Rodney did for Southern in particular, and including being a good basketball mind and not afraid to tell Weber, Painter, and Lowry when they were wrong.
Amazing. Those are amazing things. You said a minute ago, it's hard to replace a legend. Southern did it with Luke Martin. Yeah. And I just talk a little bit about Luke. I think he's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, he is, and his enthusiasm is contagious. He's into it. He has, to me, the timing has been, or it's been a seamless transition, and that was everything that I hoped. And I thought at the start, knowing him from where he was at Indiana State and the work that he had done, that Southern had done a great thing by hiring him, and that's what look. I'm very proud of what Saluki Radio has done and what I think it's meant to Southern Illinois University, not just for the teams that we broadcast, football, basketball, and baseball, but also for the people that we've produced. And so I didn't want that to change just because I wasn't there. I have an ego like everybody else, but I don't want that to fail. And so I wanted it to be seamless, and it has been seamless. And then Luke's also transitioned it. My strength wouldn't have been video, and certainly not video shooting myself. I can hold my phone up at a game and shoot about 30 seconds, but not the stuff that he does. And that's important stuff too. And the fact that they've built a studio and found a donor for that, Steve Wells, and for Luke to put together a product that somebody wants to support financially, that's a huge thing too. So yeah, he's maintained it, but he's also grown it, and it needed that too, because the video was the next step.
Appreciate your time today, the Hall of Famer, and you still talk to me, even though you have all these Hall of Fame things. And
you say Voice of the Valley. It says Voices of the Valley.
Voices. I'm having the voices on, not me. Woody Durham, voice of college sports in 2024.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. I was getting ready to quit, but I want you to talk about that for a
minute.
Well,
I do. I'm very proud of that one. I've been lucky to win awards. That one is a national one. It's relatively young. Woody Durham was a longtime voice of University of North Carolina, and they created an award that had several characteristics, several criteria, Harry, and one of it was mentorship. And when I say I'm proud of Saluki Radio, the thing I'm most proud of is the fact of what we've had. People who have worked for us. Fortunately, I worked at radio stations and Learfield that provided the commitment financially to hire people, and whether it was radio station or Learfield. And so we have in the 75 to 80 range people who are in the business, either in performance or management or sales or whatever, who are in the business. And but I'm proud of that fact that was noted, and it means a lot to me and to a lot of the people too. To me, it's the most important thing that I've done, and it's the one that's given me the most satisfaction, frankly, to see people succeed. And so that was a very, very special. And Wes Durham is a good guy, and he's Woody's son, and so he's kind of taken charge of that. And I was the first one to get it from the mid-major level, and it's easier to walk over the mid-major and ignore it, and it wasn't. And I was really, really appreciative of that one.
That's amazing. Those are great things. Appreciate your time. Will you be in St. Louis at Arch Madness?
I will. Yes.
We'll connect there again. Appreciate you, my friend. That is Mike Reis, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, formerly of the Southern Illinois Salukis. You'll forever be the Southern Illinois Saluki, though, forever. Appreciate your time, Mike. Appreciate you folks for watching. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. We'll see you again real soon.